guys, it's Lisa back with another video for you for Lisa Wise Designs, and today we're going to get back started on the Triple Pocket Folio series. This is part 2. Where we left off is we made this ABC piece that we're calling a folio sleeve. It's got pockets on both sides. We've cut the pocket for the front. That's going to be the triple piece, the third one. And we have us a matte template so that we can cut some of our pattern paper. So this is where we're going with this today. By the way, if you love the way this looks and you want to pick up the exact same supplies, you can go into the description box below this video and there'll be a link to my Etsy shop. I have a handful of physical kits still available, or you can pick up the PDF tutorial only and use your own supplies. But this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be matting the top of this. We're going to be matting this, see how we kind of piece these together. And then we're going to kind of use the leftovers, see here, here, and then there. These are all the same, like 2 pieces of paper. So this is where we're going here. So I just wanted to point out before we get started the matting, like I said, that we're going to be piecing these together. But you would not have to do that. You could cut one piece of paper if you wanted to and just mat. And I had an example of this when I first started working on this folio. This is a different paper pack, so you're not going to find this in your kit, but this is what it would look like if you just use one sheet of paper. It's beautiful, it's fine, but I just kicked it up a notch because on this side there's a lot more of this plain paper here, and I wanted some more color there. And see, here's the back of this one. Anyway, we'll put that one out of the way. I just wanted to give you that example. So we put this out of the way. We're going to grab some paper. I'm going to start out using this piece. See, like I said, you have all this that's plain on the edge, so I wanted to use some more color on the front here. Plus, another reason is I wanted to use the back side of this paper, which is that red that's right here. And if I cut it more than 6 inches, then I'm going to have to piece it at the top. So one of these had to be pieced together. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, let's start with our cutting guide here in the middle of page 7. So this is where we are right now. So I'm going to move piece B. I'm going to keep my matting template and move everything else. And then I'm going to use this sheet of paper and this one that's got the blue background with the flowers. And I chose this because, see, I wanted to pull out some more of the red, and then also we've got a couple of different flowers here that mirrors each other. Like I said, you're going to need a piece of paper that is 6 3/4 wide to mat this. So I decided not to cut mine 6 3/4. I decided to piece mine together. So that's written all out in the middle of page 7. So since I chose to do mine differently, I'm going to cut a 5-inch piece at a 1 3/4. So when you add them together, they're 6 3/4. All right, so to get started, I really wanted this really pretty graphic here, and I'm going to cut that. I'm going to double check now. I'm going to cut it at 5 inches wide. All right. So 5 here. Okay. And so then I will have this piece to mat the top of my folio. So I'm just going to kind of put this to the side for right now. Right. It's here. Then grab the blue. And so now I need 1 3/4 in order to get us to the total 6 3/4 that we need. Okay, we'll put that to the side. So now we have this strip here. The only thing I don't like about this is this strip I cut doesn't have any red. I should have cut it from this side of the paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Should have thought about that because I really want some of that red to pull in. Okay, so now I have my 2 pieces of paper. One's at 5, one's at 1 3/4. So that gives me 6 3/4. I'm going to place those together and I'm going to tape them. So just get some Scotch tape out. I'm going to flip this over and simply tape this piece together. All right, so right now it's still 12 inches long. I'm going to tape it on the ends here. And so it's a little wobbly. I'm gonna go ahead and do that in the center. So that's what we have right now. So what you're gonna do is you're going to grab that matte template that you made, and we're going to use that to help us draw the exact angles that we need. So at the bottom of page 7, I kind of give you a little diagram of how I'm going to cut mine. So I really wanted there to be as much of this as possible because I kind of lined this up. And what I did is, see, there's 2 pieces of writing right here, 2 little lines right there. Let me get my sample back out. And one of those is still in this piece here. So that's kind of would help you if you're using this exact sheet of paper. You're going to line it up right between those 2 script wordings, and you are going to be cutting off some of this doily. See, just like that. It looks really cool. And you're going to have the top of that yellow flower. This. So I hope that helps you line yours up. You're going to have the top of that yellow flower. You're going to see a little bit of that first line of script, and then you should be perfect, you know, between right and left, because these 2 pieces of paper are the same that way. So I'm just going to hold it in place. You can paper clip it if you want, and simply draw my line out for my diagonal. Okay. And then I'm going to draw my straight line at the bottom, just like so. All right, and now, easy peasy, you can just trim that out. So having that template really helps you pick out which part of the paper that you want, and it also helps you not to goof up and use up your pattern paper, and then you don't like your angle when you're done. Okay. So these pieces here that are taped together, just keep everything that we cut into a pile, because a lot of this we're going to go back to and use up as we make tags and other things as we go. So I'm going to put that in my scrap pile. Okay. Now let's see. Let's go back and find this AB piece here and the D pocket. This is going to go here. So I'm going to see how this lines up on my D pocket and see that I am satisfied. It's not perfect, but it is really, really good. Good to go. All right. So I know this is going to be good. I'm going to put that to the side. So now that this sheet of paper that we had used earlier, this red piece, we're going to use to do some matting. So we're going to flip over onto the middle of page 8. We're going to come back up here to the top of 8. So we need this to be 6 3/4 wide by 6 inch tall. Okay. So we need to take off just a little bit to get us to 6 3/4. Right, there we go. 6 3/4 wide, and then 6 inch tall. So you can decide which side you like the best. All right, you can take a look and see. Okay, back over here. So this is what it's going to look like. So we're going to do some inking, and then this is going to go at the top, just like so. Of course, you've got this big empty space here, but your pocket's going to cover it. So then your pocket's going to come here. Just like this. Glue that on. And then we have this. You can put that. Okay, love that. All right, so now we just need to go back up here on the top of page 8, and we want to put a tiny strip of the branding strip to kind of bridge the gap between these 2 pieces. So let's do that, and then we'll do some gluing. So on your branding strips, mine are up here, I am going to go, I just love this plaid so much. And I'm going to cut this in half so that I have 2 1/4 inch strips. If you have a hard time with whatever trimmer that you have where you're not able to cut these tiny pieces like this, I would just put it in your trimmer, and then I would use a piece of washi tape to hold that into place. And I have some somewhere. This is some purple tape. to help hold that into place. Well, that did not work. That's funny. Okay, there we go. All right, and then cut. I don't think I have my head on straight because it absolutely is not straight. Here we go, just like this and like that. All right, now, there we go. And then I can just run it all the way up the center. It doesn't have to be exactly in half anyway. You're just using it as a decorative piece here. So, bring this back over. So then what I would do is I'm going to glue this down where those two pattern papers meet and then just trim it off. So in order to do that, let's do some distressing. Throughout this project, I'm going to be using Distress ink from Tin Holtz in the color Vintage Photo. This is one of my favorites. If I'm not using black, I like this one. So I'm actually bending this where it's taped together and getting inside this too because I like that look, but you do what you like. I like having it on both edges there, if you can see that. I'm going to put another piece of tape here on the bottom just so it holds its shape a little better. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with this little piece here. I love it when I can utilize the branding strips too. That makes me feel so accomplished when I can use these little bitty pieces. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's about the waste factor or what it is, but I sure do love that. So I'm just going to get a quick measurement here of what I need so I'm not dealing with such a long piece. And trim that up and then put this over back to the top just in case. You never know. All right. Okay, yep, that looks pretty good. I'm using Barely Art craft glue. I really like this glue. I think it gives me a little bit of wiggle room, but it's really strong. So I've really been enjoying this the last few months. Been really giving it a workout, hoping to find out if it's going to have a nice long-term stick and be strong, and so far so good. I'm very happy. All right, so I'm going to flip this over, and what's sticking out, just going to follow that same angle, trim that off, and go back and ink up where I just trimmed. So there is that. And so here is this top piece. This is the piece that's going to be at the top. So I'm going to do the side. I don't have to do the bottom. It's not going to show. There we go. And I think this is coming along really quickly. Move this and this. Now, what I want to do with this red piece is at the top, I want to center it from right to left as best I can. And I'm going to line mine up exactly where this little tab that we did when we were making our piece. You can see that there. I'm going to kind of butt that up to the top so that that kind of looks like that is, you know, it lines up here. Going to have a little bit, no, actually this goes going to say a little bit of overhang, but it doesn't. All right, so I'm going to put Barely Art glue around the edges, a little bit in the center. And go back to this. There we go. You may have a little more than 1/8 of an inch on the sides because when we put that piece on the inside, it gave us a little more bulk, I guess you could say there. There we go, right there. Gonna have to get out my pen. I haven't used my glue since last weekend when I was crafting, so it doesn't want to come out quite as quickly. There we go. I think I got whatever out that was there. Okay, so this, you can put your D down first and then your mat, or you can mat it first, which I think I'm gonna go ahead and mat my D piece and then put the whole D piece on. Oh yeah, glue's coming out a little bit better now. I don't care what brand you use. glue is glue, right? It's going to do its thing. It's going to clog if you don't use it very often. Don't keep it clean. Okay, hopefully got that on pretty straight. So I've got a little bit showing where I was using that silver pen to help cut. So I'm going to try to cover that up just a little bit here. It may take me a few coats to do that, but that's okay. All right, I'm going to go back to my piece here. And I am gluing to piece where it says piece A, even though I know it says piece B in the directions, but anyway, they look both the same, and I just wasn't thinking. I don't know why I put in the directions piece B anyway. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, it doesn't matter. One's the front, one's the back. The pockets are made exactly the same. So this I'm going to line up. I'm going to line up the pocket flush with the bottom of the project. So there we go. All right, there's my bone folder. Okay, just like so. It's coming along well, isn't it? It's so pretty. Now we had to just like so. For the back, we're going to come back and do this piece. But for the back, we're going to use those same papers, and we're going to cut this here and mat the back piece. Sorry, I got distracted. I'm getting phone calls. So here's the red piece that we had left over. So I have that. I have this piece here that we had left over with the plaid. And then I had the blue piece here left over from when we did the front. So I'm going to use those same pieces, and let's get cutting. So I'm at the top of page 9. We're going to cut the blue flower pattern paper to 6 3/4 wide by 3 inches tall. So I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 inches so I don't have to cut so much of my pattern paper. So we just need 3 inches of this. I can put this away. And let's see, we need it to be 6 3/4. Open that up. 6 3/4 here. Oh, I need to take a look if I want to cut the butterfly or if I want to cut this side off. Probably going to turn it around so I don't cut those butterflies out. Alright, so there's that piece. I'll put this in my scraps. Okay. So then we need this to be 6 3/4 wide. I'm gonna have to estimate because it's really small. Alright, so now I have that piece. So this is all I have left here. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm not going to keep that one. I'm not going to use that anywhere. And then, let's see, the red is 6 3/4 wide by 6 inches tall, so that has already cut, right? Yeah. Okay. Gonna get my vintage photo out. Go to town here. You'll have to let me know too if you think, or if you ink all of your projects. I used to ink every single project. Now it just kind of depends. If I'm working with white paper, which is not very often, I usually don't ink because I think it just makes it kind of look dirty. But if I'm using craft colored paper or black, which is my two go-tos, I will. Definitely, for sure, on the, if I'm using that as my, did I say that right? Yes, if I'm using my cardstock as black or a craft, then I will ink the edges of my pattern paper. I don't know if I said that right or not. I guess I can't ink and talk at the same time. Okay, so now I'm just gonna make sure that we've got this lined up right. So if this is the front, flipping it over this way. So this is the top of the back. So I had the red this time at the bottom, then the blue. And I'm gonna pull this down and see how this looks. Yeah, just like so. this will cover up the seam there. Yeah, okay. I have given myself a rule in the last 18 months or so. If I like something the first time, I'm not going to break my head around trying to find the same combination if I can use that same paper over again. Right? Since I loved it here and I had the paper left over, I'm just kind of doing the same combination here on the back and use up those 2 sheets that I like and then move on to something else, if that makes sense. Because I used to would say, okay, I did the front, now how can I do the back? I need to get 2 separate sheets of paper. And since the measurements worked out, I don't have to do that. And I think this looks great. And it looks finished and like you've really thought through it. Okay. Here and here. Here we go. Okay, and so when it's finished, we're going to come back and we will put one of our cutter parts and other pattern paper under it to give it a mat. But we're not going to do that now because I did that later on in the series because I wanted to use up the scraps of what's left over for underneath. So I'm not going to cut that paper. Okay, so this one is done front and back. So let's move on to the next one. You might as well. So on this one, I did the same concept using this piece of paper and this piece of paper. The only thing I changed up is I wanted more of this flower in here. And so I still needed 6 3/4 wide, but I changed up how I did my inches on pattern paper 1 and pattern paper 2. I don't know if I said that right or not. But on the, the first one, let's see, we cut 5 inches and 1 3/4. This time, because I wanted more of this flower to show and it's bigger, I'm going to cut this 5 1/4 and this 1 1/2. That's the only thing I did different. You still need 6 3/4 wide to make this work. How you get to 6 3/4, you know, that's up to you. Just like I showed you on this example, you could just use one piece 6 3/4 if you wanted to. Okay. So, well, let me get to trimming. Ooh, sorry. So I'm going over to 5 1/4, and that gives me a lot of my flower here. 5 1/4. Okay, so all I'm missing is kind of a leaf. Put that to the side. Now I'm going to put this into my stash over here. We're going to use that on the back. Then for this red paper, we're going to need 1 1/2. So when you add those together, you get 6 3/4. So you just take a look at which side. Let me make sure I do that right this time and see which side I want to cut. I still think I want to cut the right side. Maybe I'll get one of these butterflies by doing that. We'll see, because I know we're cutting out the centerpiece here. So 1 1/2. So I'll put this in my scraps. I'll turn this around like this. So like I said, once again, we're back to 6 3/4 total. I'm gonna get my Scotch tape, flip this over, tape these together. One at the top, one in the center, bottom here. All right, flip this over like so. So on this one, let me find the sample here. This is how I wound up cutting it. I wanted the butterfly still and a lot of the red flower, and then I'm kind of at the bottom of this blue flower. So all of this gets cut off. So back here, what I did is I kind of, this blue flower here at the bottom, I cut off, you know, about 1/4 inch. Just depends on how much of this red flower you want to trim out. Am I going to wind up with a butterfly? I hope so. All right, so just like this. Let me see how much red flower I'm going to get. I'm going to kind of inch it up just a little bit. just like that. I'm going to center it right to left. Just like that. And then we trim it up. I hope you found this helpful. I've struggled in the past when I was trying to cut a decorative pocket or so and wanted to know, how then do I go about making a mat. So maybe this is helpful. All right, I'm going to put a little piece of tape toward the bottom, like I did last time. And let me get my other pocket. Make sure I'm good. And I'm happy with that. Okay. Alrighty. Now on this one, I'm going to go back to the branding strips. And this one I'm getting this little tiny blue flower-like one. And cut it in half. So I think I said this on the last video. This project's kind of designed where it's not going to take you a month of weekends to put together. You should be able to put it together in one weekend, hopefully like a Sunday afternoon. And you should be able to give this as a gift on Mother's Day, Father's Day, or just make it for yourself and not have such a large time commitment to it, is my thinking here. And you get two for the price of one to make this, because hey, you have so much pattern paper, you might as well use it all. All right, here we go. This is the only thing that's tedious, is trying to get this one inked up without getting brown ink all over my fingers, because hopefully I'm going to get to go to dinner with my family. It's been such a long time. My dad's really excited about going to a restaurant. I don't think literally that he's been inside a restaurant in over a year, and they are finally all vaccinated and ready to go. So hopefully we'll get to do that tonight. And I might have inky fingers, but that'll be okay too. Alrighty there. Whoops. I'm knocking things down. Let me grab my pocket. Is this the only one I have? I think so. I'm gonna go ahead and put this one on the pocket. Angle's a little bit different on this one. But that is okay. It's going to be black on black. I'm not going to stress about it. So it's a little bit shorter here than here. I'm not going to stress. It's going to look cute. No one's ever going to know. Right. So pull this back in. So now we need the piece at the top of this one, and so we're going to use that blue flowery piece. Did I have that pulled out? I think so. Yeah, here. So we're gonna use the leftovers here, and I think it's already at 6 3/4. Yes, I'm gonna cut it to 6. So see what I did there? I already had that measure where we cut the other side of this one. When we cut this one, it was going to be exactly what we needed. All right, so now we are over on the top of page 10, where we're going to put the blue piece here at the top, glue that, and then we're gonna put our pocket down there at the bottom. I know I keep working toward the bottom of my screen. I need to move my camera. Or either learn to work higher. Which is saying something, right? Once we get comfortable in our space, it is like so difficult to move. Just think about at work, sometimes when we used to move cubicles and we would sit somewhere else for a while, that would be so difficult for me to get back comfortable. I guess I could say the same thing for going and sitting in church, right? If you go every week, you get used to sitting at the same angle, right? To see what's going on with the preaching and the service. And if you sit somewhere different, your whole angle's off and you just feel weird. Right? You don't want to be discourteous to others by sitting in the same place or saying something, but hey, it's true. We all have our little comfort zones. Okay. A little extra glue there. It was wanting to come up. Love, 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 love. Okay, so now we're going to work on the back of this one. So we're going to use those same 2 sheets of paper. So go ahead and use this up. This and this. So this one should already be cut to what we need to go here, 6 3/4 by 6. So then the red piece, we need a 3-inch strip. And then 6 3/4. And we'll go ahead and do the centerpiece. So I can't use this blue one again that we used on the front because we're using that same piece of paper. So I'm going to put that one up, but I'm going to grab the one that looks like mustard yellow with maybe some flowers on it. I'm going to cut that one down, use for this. There was a time when I first started crafting that I never would have kept these tiny strips. I would have thought that would have been crazy, but they really come in handy for stuff like this. It makes it look so much different to put these little strips over the 2 pieces of pattern paper when they meet. And I'll show you the difference when we do this. Okay, so that one I'm going to throw away. So little. So I'm going to ink the top and 2 sides because this one's going to go on the top. And this one I'm going to ink the sides and the bottom. You could ink all the way around, but I already know that that's going to be covered because those are going to butt up against each other and this is going to cover up where they meet. So I was going to show you the difference between that look and this look. It makes a big difference to me. So sometimes I layer them like we're doing this now, and then sometimes you've seen in some of my projects I do the measurements where this becomes the piece that kind of bridges the gap between the two, and it's not layered, they're side by side. But anyway, I guess that's just how I'm feeling that day. There's no rhyme or reason. Okay, so I did not double check my orientation, so I hope everything's good. Yep. Put these up together, like so, and then do this piece. So we have both of our folios matted front and back. I'm so proud. That took 35 minutes or so, if my clock is correct. Love that. Okay. All right, so we have this, and we have this one. Put this little stopper over my glue. All right, so when we come back tomorrow, we're going to start working on our photo inserts and to get those with pattern paper on them. It's going to be so cute. And I hope that you learn a few tricks about how to use your photos. And we're going to be using this little cute thing right here. Right now I have it on this little book ring, but I'm going to take that off so that it makes it easy for us to use. We're going to use that in the next go around here. So, up here, I think I'll move this back one and put this here. Okay. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Like I said, there's a couple of these kits left. If you want to pick one of those up, just look in the link below. And I hope you're enjoying this project because I'm enjoying making it. And I'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same time, same place. Bye, guys.